Back off, or this is going to end badly for you. The man in the green shirt snarled, his fists pressed hard against the table. His voice stayed low, but its intensity cut through the diner's background noise like a blade. Two men in suits towered over the young blonde woman seated in the booth, their hands tightening on her arm as if challenging him to act. The other patrons froze, forks suspended midair, the atmosphere heavy with suspense. Before we continue this tale, drop a comment below and tell us where you're tuning in from. We'd love to know. Now let's get back to it. One of the suited men smirked. What are you going to do, tough guy? Stay there and finish your eggs. His partner laughed, leaning in closer to the woman, who seemed cornered, her eyes flickering between them and the stranger across from her. But the man in the green shirt didn't waver. He eased his chair back deliberately, standing to his full height, his gaze fixed on the two aggressors. You've got one chance to let her go, he said, his voice sharp as iron. Their laughter faded. Something in his posture, feet firm, shoulders broad, eyes unyielding, made the suits pause. This wasn't just some random guy meddling in their business. There was something more. The woman's lips quivered. Please, just let me go, she murmured, struggling to break free. One of the men tugged her arm harder, his bravado hiding a flicker of unease. You don't get to tell us what to do. That was their mistake. In a flash, the single dad moved. His hand shot out, seizing the wrist of the closest attacker. A quick twist, a sharp pull, and the man's grip broke with a cry of pain. Before the second could react, the dad spun, slamming his shoulder into the man's chest, sending him crashing back into the booth. Gasps rippled through the diner, glasses clinking on tables. 15 seconds. That's all it took. One attacker was pinned to the floor, his arm twisted painfully behind him. The other slumped, coughing, his face ashen as the dad loomed over him, eyes icy, breathing even. The woman was free, her hand pressed to her chest, her face etched with disbelief. Who are you? The pinned man hissed through clenched teeth. The dad leaned close, his voice a whisper meant only for them. Navy. And if you pull something like this again, you won't walk away. The men's faces paled. They recognized the precision, the control, the sheer efficiency of his movements. This wasn't a bar fight. It was training, years of it. The onlookers began to whisper. A waitress gripped her tray tightly, eyes wide. A man in a corner booth muttered, "That's military." No question. But this wasn't about flexing his skills. The man in green, named Ethan, wasn't there to play the hero. He was just a single dad trying to enjoy pancakes with his daughter that morning. She sat at the counter now, scribbling on a kid's menu, oblivious to the threat her father had just neutralized. For Ethan, protecting others was instinct, ingrained long before fatherhood. Ethan had served 12 years in the U.S. Navy, trained in close-quarters combat and shipboard security. He'd faced nights in places where enemies lurked in shadows, every moment a battle for survival. But after his wife's death, he left the service to raise his daughter, swapping war zones for bedtime stories. The skills stayed with him, dormant, until the day they were needed again. And that day arrived in a diner booth. Ethan released the pinned attacker and stood tall, his gaze sweeping the room. It's over, he said calmly, his voice firm, authoritative. The suits scrambled to their feet, humiliated and rattled, casting one final glance before stumbling toward the door. The door swung shut behind them, leaving a stunned silence in their wake. Then the applause began. One table, then another. Soon, the entire diner was clapping, cheering, some even whistling. Ethan didn't revel in it. He simply adjusted his sleeves, let out a slow breath, and returned to his booth. The woman he'd saved leaned toward him, her voice soft, grateful. You saved me. Thank you. Ethan shook his head. No need. Just don't let guys like that think they own you. They don't. When his daughter ran back to the table, clutching her crayon-covered menu, she looked up at him innocently. Daddy, why's everyone clapping? Ethan gave a gentle smile, ruffling her hair. Because sometimes you've got to show bullies they don't get to win. The diner watched with newfound admiration. To them, he wasn't just a rugged dad in a green shirt. He was a guardian, a warrior, carrying the Navy's discipline and honor into every moment of his civilian life. True strength isn't about acting tough. It's about standing up when others turn away. It's about protecting those who can't protect themselves. Ethan didn't set out to be a hero that day, but heroes rarely do. The applause died down. The diner's hum resumed, but the moment stayed etched in everyone's minds. One man, 15 seconds, a Navy spirit that never faded. If this story moved you, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments.